Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, fellow coin collectors and enthusiasts. Today, we've got a very special coin to explore, and it's one that you definitely don't want to overlook, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin may seem like just another everyday quarter, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. You might be thinking, what's so special about the 1983 Washington quarter? Well, when it comes to rare coins, there's always a lot more beneath the surface than you'd expect. The 1983 Washington quarter has a few qualities that make it stand out in the numismatic world, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. Let's start with some basic history. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932 to honor the first U.S. president, has had its design largely unchanged for decades. The 1983 version is part of this long-standing design, which features George Washington on the obverse and a bald eagle on the reverse. It's a classic design, but what makes this coin from 1983 particularly interesting is its rarity, condition, and the potential for minting errors. As you may know, coins that were produced in large numbers are often easier to find, but their value tends to be much lower. However, this doesn't mean every 1983 quarter is the same. The truth is, finding a well-preserved example of the 1983 Washington quarter is becoming increasingly difficult. Most of these coins have circulated heavily over the years, and it's rare to come across one that's in pristine condition. Coins that have been carefully stored or kept in uncirculated condition are what collectors dream of. They're rare, they're valuable, and they can command a premium price. A 1983 Washington quarter in perfect condition might be worth more than you'd expect because it's not just another coin from the 1980s, it's a piece of history in excellent shape, but it doesn't stop there. What makes this coin even more exciting for collectors are the potential minting errors that can make it exceptionally valuable. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the process of creating a coin. Sometimes, it's a simple mistake, but other times, it results in rare and unique coins that stand out from the rest. One of the most coveted errors in 1983 Washington quarters is the double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts or is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled. You might notice doubled lettering or a doubled date on the coin. These errors are subtle but noticeable, and they make the coin worth much more than a standard quarter. If you find a 1983 quarter with a double die error, you could be holding onto something that could make you a significant profit. Another potential error you should look for is the off-center strike. This is when the blank coin is not properly aligned in the press during the minting process, resulting in a misaligned design. An off-center strike is a unique flaw that collectors highly value, and the more extreme the misalignment, the more sought after the coin becomes. In addition to these minting errors, there's also the issue of scarcity. As time goes on, certain years or mints of coins naturally become harder to find, especially if they were circulated extensively. While millions of 1983 Washington quarters were made, the number of coins in excellent condition or with errors is relatively low. This makes those high-quality examples much more rare and valuable. Now, you might be asking yourself, what could a 1983 Washington quarter actually be worth? Here's the exciting part: a well-preserved 1983 quarter, especially one with a minting error or in high grade, can be worth a substantial amount of money. Believe it or not, if you come across a 1983 Washington quarter in exceptional condition or with a rare minting flaw, it could be worth as much as $69,000. Yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single 1983 Washington quarter. It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. Coins that have been well preserved or that feature a rare minting error can skyrocket in value, and this quarter is no exception. If you've ever wondered if that stack of quarters in your drawer could be worth something, now you know. The 1983 Washington quarter could be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. If you happen to stumble upon one of these high-quality examples, or even better, one with a minting error, you could be in for a huge payout. So, if you're sorting through your coins or visiting local coin shops, keep a sharp eye out for that 1983 Washington quarter. It might just be the valuable find you've been waiting for. Today, we've got a fascinating piece of American history to explore, a coin that might just be sitting in your collection right now, waiting to surprise you with its incredible value. Yes, I'm talking about the 1986 Washington quarter $. At first glance, the 1986 quarter might not look like much more than just another coin from the mid-80s, but don't let its humble appearance fool you. While millions of these coins were minted, some of them possess qualities that make them incredibly rare and highly valuable to collectors today. Whether you've stumbled upon one of these in your spare change or you've been collecting for years, this coin has the potential to change your life. So, what exactly makes the 1986 Washington quarter so special? Well, let's dive into the details and uncover what sets it apart from the rest. First, let's talk about the design. The quarter features the classic Washington image on the obverse, with the first president of the United States staring proudly. On the reverse side, you'll find the eagle, the symbol of American strength and freedom. While this design has remained largely unchanged for decades, the 1986 quarter has some features that have turned heads in the numismatic world. One key element that makes this coin worth more than face value is its rarity. Although millions of 1986 Washington quarters were produced, coins that are well preserved and in mint condition are far less common. Most of these coins were used in circulation and have suffered from wear and tear over the years, but if you happen to come across a pristine specimen, you're looking at a potential treasure. It's not just about the year of minting, but about how the coin was stored, handled, and cared for that determines its true value. Now, you may be wondering, what exactly makes a coin mint condition? Simply put, it means the coin is as close to perfect as possible. Uncirculated coins, those that have never been used in daily transactions, are much rarer than their counterparts. If you find a 1986 Washington quarter that shows no signs of wear, scratches, or dings, you could be holding a coin that has a premium value, but that's not all. The real goldmine in the world of rare coins comes from minting errors. You see, even though most coins are produced with precision, mistakes do happen during the minting process, and those mistakes can create coins that are highly valuable. For example, a double die error could cause the image on the coin to appear twice, giving it a unique and collectible look. If you find a 1986 quarter with a double die error, that's a serious jackpot for collectors, and your coin could be worth much more than its face value. Another error that collectors seek is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin isn't properly aligned in the press, leading to a misaligned design. If you find a 1986 quarter with this kind of error, you've got a highly sought-after collectible that could dramatically increase in value. Aside from errors, there's also the matter of rarity by mint mark. While most 1986 Washington quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, certain mint marks, such as those produced at the Denver Mint, are considered rarer. These mint marks indicate where the coin was produced, and coins with rarer mint marks are often more valuable to collectors. So, be sure to check your 1986 quarters carefully for these small but important details. And now, here's the part that you've all been waiting for. You might be thinking, what's this coin actually worth? Well, if you've got a 1986 Washington quarter in mint condition, or one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. A perfect example of a 1986 Washington quarter could be worth as much as $65,000, yes, that's right, $65,000. Imagine finding one of these coins tucked away in your pocket change or stored in a drawer. If you happen to come across a 1986 Washington quarter in pristine condition or with one of those rare minting errors, you could be looking at a life-changing discovery. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to explore the world of coins, always keep an eye out for this elusive gem. 1986 Washington quarters may be more valuable than you think. If you've got one in your collection, now is the time to give it a closer look, because it could be the hidden treasure you've been waiting for. Today's deep dive into a truly fascinating piece of U.S. coinage, the 1970 Washington quarter dollar. This coin may seem like just another common quarter from the past, but don't be fooled. If you've got a 1970 Washington quarter, there's a chance you could be sitting on a hidden gem worth much more than its face value. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1970 quarter so special? Well, let me tell you that this coin has some qualities that make it stand out in the world of coin collecting, and it could surprise you with its hidden value. First, let's start with the basics. The 1970 Washington quarter features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse. Washington, our first president, has graced the quarter for decades, and his image is still widely recognized today. On the reverse, you'll find the majestic eagle standing proudly, symbolizing freedom and strength. It's a classic design that has been a staple of American currency for generations. So, what's the deal with the 1970 Washington quarter, and why is it in the spotlight for collectors? You see, while millions of 1970 quarters were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, there are a number of factors that could make certain 1970 quarters much rarer, and much more valuable, than others. Let's break it down for you. First off, we need to talk about coin condition. Coins that have been kept in great shape, with minimal wear and no signs of being in circulation, are always going to be more valuable than those that have been passed through many hands over the years. The value of a 1970 Washington quarter skyrockets if it's in mint condition. If you've got one that's never seen the light of day in a cash register, it could be worth much more than its 25-cent face value, but it's not just the condition that makes this coin special. Minting errors are what can truly make a 1970 Washington quarter rare and valuable. The world of coin collecting loves finding coins with errors because they're unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that you won't find in a regular roll of change. And when it comes to the 1970 quarter, there are a few specific errors collectors are on the lookout for. For example, double die errors can make certain coins more valuable. A double die error happens when the coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled. This results in a distinctive look that is sought after by collectors who specialize in error coins. If you happen to have a 1970 Washington quarter with this error, you're sitting on a priceless find. Another error that can occur is an off-center strike, where the blank coin is not properly aligned when being pressed, resulting in a design that's shifted or misaligned. These types of coins are often highly collectible because they're extremely rare and stand out in any collection. If you've got a 1970 Washington quarter with an off-center strike, it could make your coin even more valuable. Now, let's talk about the mint marks. In 1970, the U.S. Mint produced quarters in both Philadelphia and Denver. Typically, coins minted in Denver have a D mint mark beneath the date. Philadelphia Mint quarters, on the other hand, may not have any mint mark at all, which makes them interesting in their own right. Mint marks play an important role in determining a coin's rarity and, consequently, its value. Quarters with low mintage figures or errors in minting can fetch significantly higher prices than regular issues. So, what are we talking about in terms of value? Well, if you have a 1970 Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or one with an incredible minting error, this coin could be worth much more than just a quarter. And I'm not talking about small change here, I'm talking about real value. If your 1970 Washington quarter has the right condition or rare error, it could easily be worth up to $75,000, yes, you heard me right. $75,000 for a single 1970 Washington quarter. It might sound unbelievable, but in the world of coin collecting, errors and well-preserved coins can command serious money. So, what should you do if you find one of these 1970 Washington quarters in your collection? First, carefully inspect the coin for any signs of wear, scratches, or errors. If you notice something unusual, make sure to do some research or even have the coin professionally graded. A well-preserved error coin could be worth far more than you expect. Today, we're diving into a coin that may be sitting right under your nose, or perhaps hiding in a jar of change you haven't thought about in years, the 1973 Washington quarter. You might think this coin is just another run-of-the-mill quarter from the early 70s, but let me tell you, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, and it could be worth much more than just 25 cents. Now, let's talk about why the 1973 Washington quarter is more than just a simple piece of currency. When most people think of coins, they focus on the obvious, how much silver is in them or how much they are worth on the open market. But for true collectors, it's all about the rarity and condition. And when it comes to this specific quarter, the 1973 Washington quarter holds a lot of hidden value that you may not even know about. First off, we need to look at the design. The obverse side of the quarter shows the iconic portrait of George Washington, who has been the face of the quarter since 1932. The reverse side features the classic eagle design, a symbol of strength and freedom, a staple of U.S. coinage that speaks to the nation's pride and resilience. While the design is important, the real story behind the 1973 Washington quarter lies in its rarity, especially when you consider the conditions and the minting errors that make certain coins stand out from the rest. You see, not all 1973 Washington quarters are created equal. The key to making these coins worth a significant amount of money comes down to mint marks, errors, and condition. Let's break that down. In 1973, quarters were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, which means there are two main varieties, the ones that bear a D mint mark and the ones from Philadelphia, which may not have a mint mark at all. The Philadelphia quarters, being a bit rarer, can fetch a slightly higher price than the Denver ones, especially when they are in mint condition. But that's just the beginning. A coin's condition is everything to collectors. Uncirculated coins, or coins that have been kept in pristine condition and have never been used in circulation, are far more valuable than the ones that have been bouncing around in your pocket or the cash register for decades. So, if you come across a 1973 Washington quarter that looks as fresh as the day it was minted, you've got a real find on your hands. Now, what really drives up the value are the minting errors. Minting errors happen when the coin is struck improperly during the manufacturing process, creating some unique and rare characteristics that collectors absolutely love. One of the most prized errors is the double die error, which occurs when the coin is struck twice by the die, causing a doubled image on certain parts of the design. If you're lucky enough to find a 1973 Washington quarter with a double die error, that's a coin you want to hold onto. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin doesn't land properly in the press, causing the design to be shifted or misaligned. These types of coins are highly sought after by collectors because of their uniqueness. A 1973 Washington quarter with an off-center strike is rare, and you can bet that it will be worth much more than your typical quarter. Another factor that plays into the value of the 1973 Washington quarter is its mintage numbers. While it's true that millions of these coins were made, the condition, mint errors, and even slight variations can make all the difference. Some quarters, because of their lower mintage or unique features, become valuable collector's items. So, what kind of price are we talking about here? You're probably wondering just how much a 1973 Washington quarter can actually be worth, and the answer might just surprise you. If you happen to own one of these coins in excellent condition, especially with a minting error or two, you could be looking at an incredible payday. The value of the 1973 Washington quarter could reach up to a stunning $72,000. Yes, you heard me right, $72,000 for a single 1973 Washington quarter. This is not an everyday quarter we're talking about. This is a rare find that could turn your coin collection into something truly remarkable. So, if you happen to come across one of these coins, take a closer look. Is it in great condition? Do you notice any strange markings or doubling on the design? If you do, you might want to get it professionally graded. A well-preserved quarter with an error can absolutely make a huge difference in its value, and you could be holding onto something that's worth far more than you expected. Now, I hope this video has sparked your curiosity and helped you understand just how much value can be hidden in your pockets or coin jars. If you enjoyed learning about the 1973 Washington quarter and want to stay updated on all the latest in rare coin finds, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we have coming up next. Today, I'm about to introduce you to a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or tucked away in an old jar of change, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. While it might seem like just another piece of pocket change, let me tell you, this coin has a surprising amount of value, especially when you understand its rarity, historical significance, and the potential for errors that can make this coin worth a fortune. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves uncovering hidden treasures, this is a video you won't want to miss. Now, let's dive into the history and design of the 1972 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Ever since, it has been a staple of U.S. currency, with a variety of designs appearing over the years. The 1972 version still features that iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with the legendary eagle on the reverse, a symbol of strength, freedom, and patriotism. While the design has remained relatively consistent over the years, it's the rarity of the coin and certain mintage errors that elevate its value in the eyes of collectors. To understand why the 1972 Washington quarter can be so valuable, we need to explore the details that set this coin apart. First of all, the mint marks are crucial when determining the value of any coin. In 1972, quarters were minted in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia mint quarters didn't have a mint mark, while the Denver mint quarters had the well-known D mint mark on the reverse. Collectors often seek out specific mint marks for rarity, so if you come across a Philadelphia mint quarter from 1972 in pristine condition, it could already be more valuable than your standard quarter from the same year. But let's dig deeper. One of the biggest factors that makes certain 1972 Washington quarters extremely valuable is the condition of the coin. You see, coins that have been circulating in the economy for decades often show signs of wear, scratches, and general damage. But uncirculated coins, or coins that have been kept in pristine condition, are far more valuable to collectors. If you've managed to find a mint condition 1972 Washington quarter, you're looking at a coin that could be worth significantly more than its face value. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Minting errors are one of the main reasons why certain coins skyrocket in value. A 1972 Washington quarter with a minting error could be worth a small fortune. These errors occur when the coin is struck incorrectly during the minting process. For example, one of the most common types of errors collectors look for is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck multiple times by the die, causing the image to be doubled or misaligned. A 1972 Washington quarter with a double die error, especially if it's on the obverse, is highly prized by collectors. Another minting error to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't aligned properly in the press, resulting in a misalignment of the design on the coin. Coins with this error can be extremely valuable, as they are unique and not easy to find. A misaligned 1972 Washington quarter with an off-center strike could make a great addition to your collection, and a valuable one at that. The condition of these coins, as well as the rarity of certain errors, plays a huge role in determining how much collectors are willing to pay. In fact, depending on the rarity of the minting errors, the 1972 Washington quarter could easily go from being a regular quarter to a coin worth thousands of dollars. Now, let's get to the big reveal. You might be wondering just how much this particular coin can be worth, and I've got some exciting news for you. If you happen to have a 1972 Washington quarter that's been well preserved or contains one of those rare minting errors, it could fetch a stunning $74,000. Yes, you heard that right, $74,000 for a single 1972 Washington quarter. If you've got one of these quarters in your collection, or if you come across one in your pocket change, make sure to inspect it closely. If it's in great condition or has one of those rare minting errors, you could be holding onto something worth a fortune. Before you go, remember to check out the rest of your coin collection, as you never know what hidden treasures might be waiting for you. Keep an eye out for those minting errors and pay attention to the condition of your coins. It could mean the difference between a few cents and thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins and rare finds, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more exciting discoveries in the world of numismatics. Thanks for watching, happy hunting, and who knows, your next great coin could be just a flip away. Keep collecting, and remember that small coins can sometimes bring big rewards.